What's up, everybody? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we always appreciate all the support that you guys give us. If you guys want the Tobin and Leroy show, which a lot of you guys checked out on this channel, you guys can now find that on the Ticket Miami. We put our content on over there for what we got going on every single day from 6 to 10 a.m. I believe we'll be starting to stream live from there soon as well, so you guys can watch all 4 hours as you do on Twitch every single day. I think that'll be added on over to the YouTube page. So check it on out, everybody. It should be a lot of fun. Couple of things that I want to get to here in regards towards your Miami Heat. Got the news, of course, over the weekend about Udonis Haslem making his return for a 20th season. Talked about that in another video on the channel. You guys can go check that on out. But a couple of pieces of news. You know, look, I give you, this is it's a little bit of, I found this in the back of the fridge and we're kind of microwaving it because it can still give me something good, but it's not as fresh as it is. So it's kind of rehash news, non-surprising news, nothing that's going to shatter the earth. But we talked a little bit about this this past week, Tyler Herro addressing Heat rumors and trade rumors, and that doesn't really bother him anymore. But want to kind of bow things together because we had Jake Paul was on the show this past week, talking about his interview with Tyler Herro, and that finally came out on Friday. And it wasn't the most enlightening interview, I'm not going to lie. Now, I did find Jake Paul and Tyler Herro playing horse very entertaining. I thought that was really, really great. But the interview itself, not the meatiest. But he was asked about this in this terms. He was asked about his future with the Miami Heat. He was asked about if he was the Miami Heat's GM, what would he do? What would he do to change the team, or what would he run it back? What would he do? And Tyler Herro said, I would run it back. Quote, I would run it back. I think that's what we're doing. We brought everybody back. We were one game away from the finals, so I would run it back. Which is not surprising. Now, when I asked Jake Paul about this on the show, I asked him, did you ask him about trade rumors? He said yes. He said it was a sensitive subject, as Jake Paul put it. So didn't really ask him about it as far as like, how are you handling the trade rumors? Now, Tyler Herro did get asked about that later in the week, so we kind of got his feelings that aren't surprising about it, but I would have liked to known in a more relaxed atmosphere with a Jake Paul, would he have been a little bit more candid? Not exactly how I would have wanted the question to be asked, but still, that is Tyler Herro's thoughts on it, of running things back. Of course he would, though. Like, Tyler Herro is no dummy. He knows that any of these trades, whether it be for Donovan Mitchell or be for Kevin Durant, he knows that he's going to be the big asset that surrounds it. And that kind of brings us to where things are today, because there's I'll put this loosely, a new report from Shams from The Athletic talking about where things are with the Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell trade talks as we get closer to it. And he writes that the Boston Celtics, Toronto Raptors, and Miami Heat remain among the most serious threats to land Durant because they have the types of pieces necessary to satisfy the Nets' asking price for the two-time Finals MVP. However, no one has yet met Brooklyn's high price tag of an all-star, another high-level player, and draft picks. And those conversations with the frontrunners have been non-existent recently. He writes, the Celtics have offered Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and a first-round pick. The Raptors have refused to make Scotty Barnes available, and Miami has yet to seriously engage with a package around Bam Adebayo. He adds that the Philadelphia 76ers expressed recent interest, while the Milwaukee Bucks and Denver Nuggets also inquired with the Nets late in June. But the big one that they said is New Orleans Pelicans inquired about the Nets, but deemed Brandon Ingram untouchable. Also in the past months, the Hawks offered John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, and a draft pick for Durant. And then the big one that is getting a lot of buzz today is the Memphis interest, that they're interested in getting Kevin Durant. But apparently, even though they have 5 first-round picks, they will not make Desmond Bane or Jaren Jackson in a deal for Kevin Durant. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much you want to buy into something like that, because if you're not going to if you're not having John Morant, Jaren Jackson, okay, but Desmond Bane either, it's like, all right, well, then at what point are they just doing it for draft picks? So I don't know how much people want to buy into that. As far as the Heat not adding Bam Adebayo, I can't ever see that changing. I don't think they're going to make Bam Adebayo available. It is crazy, though. Everybody really does seem to look at this, and they know that the Nets are in a pinch, so it doesn't make the deals easy to make, and yet the Nets aren't going to get in a position where they want to be fleeced and be the team that lost, James Harden and Kevin Durant and possibly Kyrie Irving by the end of this thing. It seemed like there had been some movement last week, maybe on the Lakers getting Kyrie Irving if they could find another first-round pick to send their way, but that still has been. And they also don't seem very interested in getting in on the Russell Westbrook game and having him on their roster. So there's that. As far as Donovan Mitchell's concerned, Sham says that the Jazz and Knicks have been in discussion for a trade for Spida. According to sources, the deal is not considered imminent, but the Knicks are motivated to acquire Mitchell and have proposed new packages to Utah's front office led by Danny Ainge. New York has made an offer of Evan Fournier, Obi Toppin, additional salary, unprotected picks, 5 total according to league sources. And the Jazz's asking price has been more significant than that. Mitchell has 3 years remaining on his deal, and the Hornets and the Wizards are among teams that have also been interested. So no even mention of the Heat there when it comes to Donovan Mitchell. We do know that Danny Ainge has been a Tyler Herro fan in the past, but I don't know. I mean, this seems like we're going to go into the year. If it looks like we're leaning towards Donovan Mitchell and the Knicks going to be a thing, even though he has been playing with Bam Adebayo and has been definitely. They were both asked by Brandon Marshall last week about would they imagined playing together. Of course, they have. They're close friends. So as far as that's concerned, it's looking more like Donovan Mitchell probably will be dealt, but there's no mention of the Heat. Danny Ainge, if he wants a big horde of picks, the Heat don't really have that to offer. I think they could do some unprotecting with the Thunder and get 3 first-round picks total to give, but they can't hit the 5 mark that the New York Knicks can, nor that the Memphis Grizzlies can for Kevin Durant. But it does feel very much like the Nets want players more so than picks when it comes to KD. And every team, seemingly the best player that's been offered is Jaylen Brown for the Celtics. But the Celtics have made it very public that they are happy with their team. They don't want to deal Jaylen Brown. The Grizzlies not dealing John Morant, Desmond Bane, or Jaren Jackson out of any of those teams. I don't really know where they go into this unless they just think the Nets are going to be wowed by picks. Scotty Barnes not being available for the Toronto Raptors. I get it. He had an amazing year last year. He looks like the truth. So I get their frustration there as well. It's going to be interesting to see, like, with Kevin Durant, does this go into training camp? Can it get to that level of uncomfortability? And if it does, then what is the next move? Like when things get really uncomfortable, because people seem to think, oh, no, he's going to go and he's going to play basketball. He really does have to go into the mode of a James Harden or a Ben Simmons or something like that. If you really, with that many years on his deal, you got to make a stink. Like it can't just be a little stink tooting church. Like it needs to be fart on an elevator kind of making a stink. Really just making somebody gag on it to get you to the point of you getting that trade done, especially when all the other teams don't really want to blink. And you also have the caveat of if he wants to come to our team, can we make that? I do find it surprising that the Pelicans haven't made Brandon Ingram available if they've really inquired about it, because, like, what do they expect? It's going to be Zion, Brandon, and Kevin Durant. I don't know. That seems a little bit weird to me. But big stalemate right now. So when Tyler Herro says that he wants the Heat to run it back, it looks like it's going that direction. And I'm sure the last thing that he's waiting on is where things stand with his extension and when that's going to get done and what does his future look like with the Miami Heat. And what do the Heat do as far as do they get to a point where they pour cold water on it and they're not going to deal Tyler Herro? Do they say, look, the damage is done. He's already dealt with all of this stuff as it is? Because, he's already kind of answered the questions as PC as he can. I'm not dealing with it. I'm going to work my butt off. And I don't think that this is one of those markets where it's going to linger on him and linger on him and linger on him and lean on him every single day. Maybe if he struggles, if he does really bad, maybe that could be a thing. I'm sure if you have weekly reports coming out time and time again, maybe it'll get to the point where he bothers him, but he is used to it. He has been, as he said, he's dealt with this nearly every summer that he's been here. So I don't know if it's going to get to that point where it really gets to bother him. But, it seems like every week we get a new report from Shams where it's like, this team's interested, but they're not really interested in Kevin Durant. And there, I guess, would put you in the spot where the Heat are alive, because seemingly all of these teams that are interested don't want to put their best player out there. They don't want to put their second best player out there. The Celtics are the only one that's kind of known that they put a second best player out there, but it seems like they've really kind of backed off of that in the recent days. And so because of that, now you're down to these teams' third best player. And, I think Tyler Herro, as far as teams and players that have credentials, like, what is the competition that the Heat are facing in that regard? So always sexy to get those updates, but also a lot of fluff and no meat when it comes to this stuff also. So maybe Tyler Herro is going to get his wish, and the team run it back looks like it's getting closer and closer to happening.